Chosen one, do not scroll, because tomorrow is not just another day for you. It is a closing. And closings only happen after decisions. You think something is ending because of fate. It is not fate. It is the result of your actions, your silence, your discipline, your restraint, your refusal to react the way you used to. You do not even realize what you have shifted. But the shift has already been registered. For months, you were being observed by outcomes. Every time you chose patience over impulse, something recalibrated. Every time you walked away instead of arguing, something weakened that once had control over you. Every time you said no to what drained you, a cycle began collapsing. Tomorrow is not dramatic. It is decisive because cycles do not end loudly. They end when power is removed from them. And you removed power. You stopped feeding the pattern. You stopped entertaining the chaos. You stopped explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. That was the turning point. You thought you were just protecting your peace. You were ending a chapter. There was a version of you tied to certain environments, certain people, certain emotional habits. That version no longer fits. And when identity shifts, circumstances follow. Tomorrow it ends, not because something attacks you, because something releases you. The situation that felt stuck will loosen. The tension that felt constant will soften. The attachment that felt heavy will lose grip. Not magically, strategically, because you changed first. Understand this clearly. Heaven does not interrupt cycles randomly. Cycles end when growth makes them unnecessary. You outgrew something quietly. You matured without announcement. You developed boundaries without broadcasting them. That maturity closed doors you were once afraid to shut. You may feel uneasy right now, like something is about to move. That feeling is confirmation, because when endings approach, energy shifts. People act differently. Conversations change tone. Opportunities suddenly appear or disappear. Do not panic. Ending is not loss. Ending is alignment. The reason tomorrow feels significant is because you crossed an internal threshold. You no longer tolerate what once felt normal. You no longer chase what once felt urgent. You no longer respond the way you once did. That internal decision rewrote your trajectory. And trajectory determines outcome. There was a cycle connected to struggle. It required your emotional reaction to survive. You stopped reacting. Now it cannot survive. There was a dynamic connected to confusion. It required your doubt to continue. You chose clarity. Now it collapses. There was a pattern connected to delay. It required your impatience to control you. You chose discipline. Now delay loses authority. Tomorrow it ends because you evolved, not because someone else apologized, not because someone else changed first, because you did. Growth is silent but powerful, and power does not need noise to work. You may wake up tomorrow and feel lighter, or receive a message that confirms closure, or notice that something that once triggered you no longer does. That is ending, not fireworks. Freedom. Freedom is quiet. It feels like space. It feels like breath returning. It feels like no longer explaining yourself. You are not losing something valuable. You are losing something limiting. There is a difference. Sometimes we confuse familiarity with destiny. You broke that illusion. You chose elevation over attachment. You chose peace over performance. You chose maturity over emotional reaction. That choice triggered the ending. And here is the truth. When something ends because of growth, something better aligns because of readiness. Do not fear tomorrow. It is not punishment, it is permission. Permission to move differently. Permission to think differently. Permission to build without the weight of old cycles. You have been in preparation mode for longer than you realize. The discipline you practiced when no one noticed was building leverage, and leverage changes outcomes. The moment you stopped chasing validation, validation stopped controlling you. The moment you stopped forcing outcomes, outcomes began rearranging naturally. That is power. Quiet power, and quiet power closes chapters without chaos. Tomorrow may look ordinary to others, but internally you will know something shifted. You will feel finality. You will feel clarity. You will feel that a door you kept slightly open is now fully closed. Do not reopen it. Growth requires consistency. If you reopen old cycles, they restart. If you maintain discipline, they dissolve permanently. You are not the same person who began this chapter. You are stronger, calmer, more observant, less reactive, more aligned. That alignment ended what once held you. And because you ended it internally, it ends externally. Tomorrow it all ends, not with drama, with decision. And your next chapter begins not with noise, but with stability. Stay steady. Do not second guess your growth. Do not revisit what you already outgrew. Do not confuse loneliness with regression. You are transitioning, and transitions feel strange before they feel free. But freedom is coming because you earned it through action, through restraint, through discipline, through growth. Tomorrow is not random. It is earned closure. Walk into it calmly. The ending is not your loss. It is your release. Chosen one, now listen carefully, because endings do not just close doors. They reveal who you have become. Tomorrow does not only end a situation, it exposes your transformation. You will notice something subtle. The thing that once controlled your thoughts will no longer dominate your mind. The person who once triggered emotion will no longer trigger urgency. The environment that once felt heavy will feel distant. That distance is growth, and growth feels unfamiliar at first. You might question yourself. You might wonder if you moved too quickly, if you detached too strongly, if you closed something that could have changed. But understand this clearly. You did not close it from anger. You closed it from clarity. And clarity is not impulsive. Clarity is earned. You earned it through experience, through disappointment, through reflection, through silent nights where you processed what others never saw. You processed instead of projecting. That changed everything. Most people repeat cycles because they avoid reflection. You reflected deeply. You examined your role. You adjusted your behavior. You took responsibility where needed, and you released what was not yours to carry. That is maturity. And maturity ends unnecessary battles. The ending that is approaching is not destruction. It is disconnection from limitation. There was a ceiling attached to your old behavior. You broke it. There was a delay attached to your emotional reactions. You overcame it. There was confusion attached to your uncertainty. You replaced it with conviction. Conviction stabilizes direction. And when direction stabilizes, chaos loses access. You may receive confirmation tomorrow in different forms. A conversation that finalizes things. A realization that settles your mind. An opportunity that redirects your focus. or simply a deep internal peace that says, it's done. Do not chase dramatic closure. Accept calm closure. Calm closure is permanent. Dramatic closure often reopens. You are stepping into a quieter strength, the kind that does not argue, does not prove, does not defend unnecessarily. That strength ends cycles faster than confrontation ever could. There were people who expected you to react again, to fall into old patterns again, to reach out again. You didn't. That silence spoke louder than words. That silence removed their influence. You may never see how much your discipline shifted things behind the scenes, but shifts are happening. Doors that required you to stay stuck are closing. Doors that require your growth are opening. You are not losing, you are repositioning. Tomorrow is not about something being taken from you. It is about something no longer having access to you. And access is power. When you withdraw access from what drains you, you regain power. You have reclaimed your power. That is why it ends. Do not revisit what has expired. Do not romanticize what once limited you. Do not question the peace that comes after distance. Peace is confirmation. If something truly belonged in your next chapter, it would not require regression. It would require expansion. And you are expanding slowly, strategically, confidently. You may feel alone for a moment. That is temporary, because when cycles end, space appears, and space invites alignment. Alignment does not rush in. It builds gradually, but it builds cleanly. You are entering a cleaner season. Cleaner thoughts, cleaner energy, cleaner direction. Tomorrow is not dramatic to others, but to you it is pivotal, because you will feel the weight lift. You will feel the emotional tie loosen. You will feel the attachment dissolve. That dissolution is freedom, and freedom is quiet. You do not need applause for growth. You need consistency. Maintain it. Do not reopen what you just closed. Do not test whether it still affects you. Move forward without checking behind you, because the chapter ending tomorrow is not asking for your attention anymore. It is asking for your acceptance. Accept it. Stand steady and step forward without fear. The ending is not punishment. It is proof. Proof that you evolved. Proof that you matured. Proof that you are ready for what requires strength instead of reaction. Tomorrow, it ends. And because it ends, you begin.